Actions speak louder than words, according to the Stoics, and if you know where to look, you can see the signs in relationships. Today, we're revealing 7 key signs that a woman wants you all to herself and is subtly telling other women to back off. These behaviors may seem inconsequential, but they have profound psychological significance, so you'll want to watch to the end to learn how to spot them. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with your own experiences. Let's get started. In the first chapter, she embraces a defensive posture. One of the most obvious indications that she desires you is her physical presence between you and other women, although it may appear like a tiny gesture. This behavior is actually well established in evolutionary psychology. Imagine that you're at a social gathering and she pretends to be casual by reaching for her drink, leaning in to better hear you, or even changing her stance. But her actions speak louder than words when she abruptly shifts her position, standing closer to you, or placing herself directly in the line of interaction. Roots is subtly claiming you and telling other women to back off by adopting this protective posture. These small intentional acts during a conversation with a group of people show an instinctive desire to protect and maintain her relationship with you. This behavior is subtle but important. It's not about being overly aggressive, but rather about sending a clear and unambiguous message. The Stoics highlighted the importance of purposeful action, and in this instance, her actions are anything but random. They reflect her desire to protect what she values. She communicates our connection to others by standing closer to you or lightly touching your arm during a conversation. Even a small gesture, like coming forward to join your conversation, can serve as a signal that she's an essential part of your world. This behavior, which is not jealousy in the traditional sense, uses the principle of scarcity, which raises the value of something when it is viewed as desirable and possibly unachievable. She not only reacts to her surroundings by creating a physical barrier, but also manipulates it to make her presence felt and her intentions clear, which can make you seem even more desirable to others. This idea not only deters potential rivals, but also strengthens her opinion of you as someone who deserves protection and, more intriguingly, her prote. When you see her stepping in or abruptly positioning herself, it's an unspoken sign of her dedication to the relationship. It's her way of saying, you. I think that these nonverbal cues provide you a sense of safety and acceptance and serve as a reminder that she is not only paying attention, but also sincerely devoted. A V posture does more than simply keep you safe from people. It also deepens your relationship with them. This behavior can also appear outside of social gatherings. For instance, she may gently steer the conversation away from topics involving other women, or humorously interrupt when someone else seems too interested in you. These are instances of how she maintains control over the space you share and keeps your privacy. Link at the middle. She strikes a careful balance between being protective and being confident in the relationship, showing her dedication to you without coming across as overbearing. If her behavior seems excessive, like constantly interrupting conversations or excluding you from other people, it might be a sign of insecurity rather than confidence. It's important to understand that her protective behavior in these circumstances may be motivated by fear rather than love. Examine the situation and her general behavior to determine the real motivation behind her behavior. Does she come off as rigid and overly cautious, or is she diving in with ease and playfulness? The former demonstrates a healthy feeling of care and attachment, while the latter could indicate underlying anxieties that need to be addressed by her protective. When you recognize and value these gestures, you can better understand her feelings and strengthen your relationship with her by responding thoughtfully and consciously. Behavior ultimately shows the bond she has with you. It's a combination of natural affection and a desire to nurture what you have in common. This establishes a dynamic in which you both feel valued and safe. The subtle touch in Chapter 2. Physical contact is one of the best ways to communicate feelings without using words. When she wants you all to herself, a woman may often make little deliberate gestures like leaning toward you during a conversation or rubbing her palm against your shoulder. These little things achieve 2 things. They create a relationship between you two and let others know that you have a special bond. Yours are all modest but meaningful actions that send an unspoken message of love and connection. Whether it's a gentle pat on your arm, a laugh at your jokes, or a consoling squeeze on your hand in a private moment, it's her way of defining her territory in a way that seems effortless and natural. It's amazing how these seemingly insignificant gestures can significantly alter the tone of an interaction engagement. The Stoics understood the value of being present in the moment, and physical touch is a prime example of this principle in Action A. From a psychological perspective, when she touches you, it triggers the release of oxytocin, the so-called bonding hormone, which strengthens your emotional bond and your sense of intimacy with one another. These moments also encourage you to focus on the here and now, which reinforces your connection in a tangible and meaningful way. Casual touch during a conversation can add warmth and intimacy, making you feel more valued and appreciated. These moments are not accidental. Rather, they are intentional cues that highlight her desire to bridge the gap between you physically and emotionally. Instantaneous manner, in addition to cultivating love and trust. In addition to its emotional benefits, oxytocin strengthens your emotional relationship with others and increases the significance of every interaction while also suddenly alerting them that a connection already exists, creating an imperceptible barrier that people are instinctively aware of. Impact's physical contact considerably changes how we view relationships. Since research indicates that quick touches can increase emotions of comfort and security and foster a sense of belonging, a woman who initiates touch not only seeks proximity, but also discreetly makes sure that you associate her presence with these pleasant sensations. Pay attention to how frequently and in what context she does this. Are the things she touches spontaneous or reserved for particular situations? The more intentional and context-sensitive these touches are, the more they reveal her desire to create exclusivity and connection. It's important to watch how her touches change over time. A playful nudge during a light-hearted moment might convey one type of affection, while a lingering touch on your hand during a heartfelt conversation might signal something deeper. At first, they could seem hesitant or flitting, like they're trying something new, but as the bond grows, these touches frequently become more frequent and confident, signifying her growing comfort and attachment. This development shows her emotional involvement in the relationship and her wish to deepen your link. But as with all communication, balance is key. Although physical touch can be a lovely way to show affection, too much of it could be interpreted as insecurity rather than sincere feeling. Physical contact is an effective strategy for building and maintaining relationships. You can improve your relationship with her and learn more about her goals and feelings by observing and responding to these small cues. If her touches feel excessively forced or obsessive, it may be a sign of an underlying fear of losing you. In these situations, open communication can help clarify intentions and address any concerns. Nevertheless, despite their briefness, these exchanges have the capacity to strengthen your emotional ties and create lasting impressions. Chapter 3 discusses the use of social media in the digital age. These digital gestures can be small but deliberate displays of affection that show your presence even when you're not there in person. For example, a woman may regularly interact with your posts by leaving comments, tagging you, or sharing content that interests you. She can subtly comment on your photos, share inside jokes in public forums, or just like earlier postings on social media, to show you and other viewers that she's engaged. She's creating an external narrative of connection that goes beyond the overt behaviors. The Stoics often discuss the significance of appearances and perceptions. When a woman regularly engages with your online presence, she is not only expressing her feelings, but also influencing how others view your relationship, whether consciously or unconsciously. She is crafting a narrative for the digital audience that places her in a central role in your life from a psychological perspective. For example, she may share posts that align with your interests or subtly reference private conversations you've had, creating a sense of intimacy for those in the know that these gestures are about building a shared identity and a meaningful connection in each other's lives. This situation, When other women see her in your online spaces through comments, likes, or even shared memories, they are less likely to approach because they assume you're already taken care of. This creates a dynamic where her actions act as both a declaration and a protective mechanism, reinforcing her attachment to you as these small actions become habitual and keep you in her thoughts at the same time. Her social media activity reflects a carefully curated narrative that positions her as someone closely connected to you. This ongoing involvement accomplishes several goals: a careful balancing act between informed participation and crossing boundaries. Interestingly, this behavior also shows that she wants to stay in touch with you even when she is physically away. She does this by using social media to remind you of her presence no matter what. In a sense, it's her way of saying, "I'm here and I'm thinking of you," without having to speak with you directly all the time. If she exhibits excessive social media activity, such as continuously commenting, tagging, or monitoring your online activities, it may be a sign of insecurity rather than true affection. This kind of behavior could be the consequence of a fear of losing you, which may need to be carefully addressed, the fundamental problems. Furthermore, in this age of constant connectivity, trust and understanding, not constant monitoring or time-consuming attempts, form the foundation of a strong relationship. If her behavior starts to feel controlling or intrusive, it's important to freely express your feelings and establish boundaries that guarantee respect for one another. Excessive involvement can occasionally result in a feeling of suffocation. Although social media is a useful tool for relationships, it must be used carefully and with moderation. By paying attention to her, you can deepen your connection and allow for genuine engagement in each other's lives. Activities and reacting with gratitude and consciousness, you may ensure that your virtual relationship enhances your in-person relationship. By recognizing the motivations behind her behavior and establishing mutual boundaries when needed, a good dynamic includes both sides feeling comfortable and valued. Chapter 4. Internal Jokes. One of the best methods for a woman to create intimacy, exclusivity, and a strong sense of connection in any relationship is to frequently bring up personal jokes or experiences, even in a group setting. She's not only trying to. These are her strategies for strengthening the connection that separates you two and seems indestructible to others in order to make you laugh. Think about the power of the inner jokes that draw from shared experiences. By showing others that your relationship operates with a distinct degree of closeness from a psychological standpoint, inside jokes serve as social markers and indicate the depth of your connection. They are a condensed form of symbolic communication that conveys familiarity, trust, and a shared past. Her sly comment about a moment that only the two of you experienced is her way of saying, "This is ours, and no one else can touch it," which are essential for creating a strong emotional connection in public settings. Referencing these private jokes makes them more powerful because it not only reminds you of your relationship, but also abruptly discourages others from attempting to match it. For instance, picture yourself at a dinner with friends when one of them leans over and warns you not to order the insert food because you know what happened the last time. The two of you exchange knowing smiles, but no one else at the table understands. At that point, the exclusivity of the moment brings you closer together, while quietly letting everyone else know that you two have a unique connection. For Stoics. The Stoics often emphasize the value of meaningful connections, and inside jokes are a perfect example of this principle in action. When she brings up bond inside jokes in a group setting, it reinforces the idea that the two of you have a special relationship that no one else can duplicate. When both parties recognized and nurtured these meaningful moments, relationships flourished. In the context of contemporary relationships, inside jokes become emblems of their deeper connections, which are based on layers of trust, shared experiences, and mutual understanding. Her use of an assertive manner to show her interest in you and the special past you two share is her method of erecting an invisible wall around your relationship that stretches beyond its exclusivity. These inside jokes can also be used as a litmus test to determine how involved and connected you are to someone else. If you respond positively, it validates her belief that you are in sync. When she shares these moments, She's reminding you that you're a part of something special, a relationship that is valuable and unique. This sense of belonging is very reassuring and strengthens your bond with her. It also serves as a reminder that she values the time and experiences you shared, and for her, it's a way to further deepen your bond. The relationship. When she makes allusions to them, she uses these times to check in and make sure your connection is strong. If you don't get the joke or seem uninterested, it can be a sign that she needs to rebuild the connection. It's difficult for outsiders to penetrate the connection and sense of community that this shared identity creates, but it's important to realize that she's incorporating inside jokes into your relationship, which helps to develop a common identity over time. She also shares a special story about trust, that forced or overdone jokes may lose their interest and come out as dishonest when she uses them, and that the power of inside jokes lies in their sincerity and spontaneity. Even in times of stress or conflict, jokes can serve as a bridge to reconciliation by bringing up a shared memory or humorous moment. The best inside jokes originate from genuine moments of connection and shared experience. It's not about performing for other people, but rather about strengthening your relationship in a way that feels natural and significant. Start off as a one-time joke, but gradually grow into a common topic of conversation in your relationship. Every time she brings it up, it strengthens the memory and the feelings connected to it, generating a positive feedback loop of love and bonding. More than just humorous anecdotes, inside jokes are a fundamental component of intimacy and exclusivity. They remind you of the special moments you had together, foster a sense of community, and subtly demonstrate her commitment to the relationship. Whether they are whispered in private or spoken aloud, these exchanges reveal a great deal about her feelings for you and the strength of your bond. In the end, the value of internal jokes goes far beyond amusement. They demonstrate the strength of your bond and the work she puts into fostering it. Pay attention to these behaviors because they are powerful markers of a relationship she values deeply and go beyond simple displays of affection. For example, in Chapter 5, offering you a taste of her drink or sharing her meal may seem like a routine daily action, but they actually have deep meaning. This seemingly simple gesture demonstrates comfort's trust and a close relationship with you two. But when you do it in public, it suddenly takes on a much greater significance, abruptly revealing to others your special bond. A lady is not only being nice when she offers you her drink or a sample of her food, it's also a nonverbal cue that she feels comfortable around you and appreciates your relationship. This behavior stems from our evolutionary heritage, particularly from ancient cultures where sharing resources was a sign of collaboration and trust, two qualities that are essential to any meaningful relationship. By bringing you into her personal space with food or drink, sharing in public enhances its impact in front of others. This small gesture efficiently and quietly delineates her territory without the need of words. From a psychological perspective, the Stoics usually emphasize the significance of small intentional actions in forming our lives and relationships for them. By offering you a piece of what is hers, she symbolically demonstrates that she views you as an essential part of her life. This philosophy, which is founded on the idea of reciprocity, which holds that when someone shares something with us, we naturally feel a sense of intimacy and a desire to reciprocate in a romantic way, also aligns with sharing a meal or a drink, emphasizing the deeper connection it represents rather than the item itself. Even small gestures held profound significance when done with intention. To the untrained eye, this gesture might seem like a simple act of kindness, but to those who are sensitive to social dynamics, it's a clear indication of the intimacy between you to share something so personal that she's making a statement that transcends words. For instance, she might casually slide her glass toward you during dinner with friends or coworkers, saying you have to try this, it's amazing, or she might hold out her fork with a bite of her food, insisting that you taste it. In this way, she's creating a cycle of trust and affection. The power of the act originates from her sincerity. When she offers you a sip of her drink in a social setting, it truly sets you apart from the others. It's a subtle way of saying, he's special to me, and I trust him in ways I don't trust others. She shares her physical and emotional space, which is difficult to replicate, but her comfort and affection flow naturally from her, without any force or overthinking. This action also adds to a sense of exclusivity. The shared meal or beverage also acts as a means of nonverbal communication. It doesn't call for grand announcements or theatrical gestures, but rather conveys love and trust in a subtle and organic way that is ideal for Stoic principles that place an emphasis on deeds, rather than words, or those that claim that sharing can have a significant impact and that deeds speak louder than words. The best moments are those that feel real and unplanned, where the act of sharing is a natural extension of her feelings for you. In conclusion, the shared drink picture is much more than a simple gesture of affection. This exclusivity strengthens your bond and communicates to others her emotional investment in you by allowing you to partake in something as intimate as her meal or drink. This behavior also fosters a feeling of community. Informal offer. Whether it's a sip of her favorite cocktail or a bite of her dessert, these small acts carry a lot of emotional weight over time and build a foundation of intimacy and trust that fortifies the relationship. It's a purposeful and meaningful act that symbolizes exclusivity, intimacy, and trust. Gently let others know that you are very important to her and that you value these moments for their powerful expressions of love and connection, rather than just Chapter 6 of Deeds of Kindness. The encouraging spotlight. A woman who wants everyone to. She will often want to ensure that everyone is aware of how precious you are to her. This behavior goes beyond simple appreciation. Rather, it is a deliberate attempt to highlight your worth and fortify her unique link with you in social settings. Her words and deeds are meant to boost your confidence and presence. Take note of her actions and picture this situation. When she casually says, "Did you know he has the best advice or is incredibly talented at inserting?" During a party, you're attracted to him for support. Although these words seem like genuine compliments, she may be saying them for two reasons: praising your skills and abilities, but underneath that, she's expressing her value for you and her honor in your presence. The Stoics emphasize the importance of acknowledging others' worth and giving credit where credit is due. By publicly praising your accomplishments or skills, she is subtly conveying a message that reflects this timeless principle, but with a decidedly possessive undertone. I recognize his value and mine. This action not only boosts your self-confidence but also validates her status as someone who truly understands and values you. Psychologically present with your achievements and value, it seems as though she is reaffirming that we work together as a team and that I am the one who genuinely values him. This makes you feel excluded because she has already become your strongest ally, and this association suddenly discourages other women from vying for your love. This dynamic often goes above and beyond what is said. For instance, she might go over and beyond to praise your accomplishments, regardless of how minor they may be. She might also be the first to tell your mutual friends about his diligence and how proud I am of him, or possibly you. Succeeded in a passion project or pastime, she will spread the word about it and highlight your achievements in a way that links her to your success. By continuously putting you in the spotlight, she subtly alters how other people view you and, in turn, how they perceive her relationship to you. This behavior isn't just about admiration, it's also about influencing her actions. The way she teases and mocks you in a group setting, for instance, is another facet of this behavior. It is intentionally created to deepen your relationship while abruptly establishing boundaries with others. This is a contemporary interpretation of Stoic wisdom, which teaches us to act with intention and purpose. It's important to keep in mind that this kind of encouragement is not always evident. Sometimes she may rely on inside jokes or experiences that only the two of you understand, casually bringing them up in conversation to strengthen your bond in front of others. For example, she may say, "Oh, don't listen to him, he's way too modest, or he's acting like he doesn't know, but he's actually an expert." These humorous remarks serve a deeper purpose by attracting people's attention and highlighting your value while creating a sense of unity, which further distances you two as a couple. By creating a sense of intimacy and exclusivity, This technique EST shows that your connection is unique and challenging to replicate, and consider her actions when the group's attention naturally shifts to someone else. If she subtly brings the conversation back to you, perhaps by asking a question that highlights your knowledge or experiences, it's critical to comprehend and value the motivation behind her actions. Her continuous attempt to publicly celebrate you says volumes about her feelings and her willingness to invest in the relationship, where balance is crucial if her actions become too frequent or start to feel forced. This isn't just flattery or meaningless praise. It's her way of showing pride and a desire to establish herself as someone deeply connected to you. Could be interpreted as a sign of insecurity rather than confidence. This is still another obvious evidence of her objective, which is not to draw attention away from other people. Sincere Stoicism, after all, is measured and intentional behavior. In conclusion, when a woman consistently praises you in social settings, highlights your accomplishments, and draws attention to your W, she is doing more than just showing her admiration. She is also firmly fortifying her relationship with you and letting others know that she is a significant part of your life. This subtle yet effective behavior is a blatant sign that she wants you all to herself and is making sure everyone else knows it as well. The spotlight enhances both naturally and effortlessly. Chapter 7. When a woman wants you all to herself, she may use protective gossip as a tactful but calculated way to make her point. This type of gossip doesn't intend to hurt anyone. Rather, it's a lighthearted or playful way to set boundaries and reassure others of your concern through lighthearted or humorous remarks. She declares her commitment to you and abruptly cuts off any potential rivals. For instance, in a conversation with a group of friends, she may turn to face someone and say, "Be careful, I'm watching you." Despite their seeming lightness, her words serve as a gentle caution to others not to step outside of their comfort zones. Outsiders may interpret this as a joke, but beneath the comedy lies a serious message. She is defining her territory without generating unnecessary tension or discomfort. Protective gossip is an example of how Stoics usually stress the importance of measured words and their impact. She strategically places herself at the center of your social interactions so that everyone is aware of her strong psychological bond with you. Her deliberate and purposeful behavior seeks to influence opinions without starting an open argument. It functions on several levels, first by putting others under social pressure to reconfirm. Think about stepping across boundaries. Even if they didn't want to, she fortifies her bond with you by casually and publicly displaying interest and investment without coming across as overly controlling or possessive. The subtle reminder of her presence also improves your sense of emotional identification. Think about how this behavior functions in social situations. People prefer to observe social cues, so when she makes jokes about her area or makes fun of someone else for approaching too closely, she's setting up a story that others would naturally follow. Her remarks are a subdued yet clear assertion that you are not accessible for anybody else's attention. They strike a careful balance between expressing confidence and affection, two qualities that are highly desirable in any relationship. When used sparingly, protective gossip seems light and natural and benefits all parties involved. However, when used excessively or incorrectly, it can backfire and come off as insecurity, or even envy, rather than confidence. The key to its efficacy is timing and subtlety. The secret to successful protective gossip is finding a balance. It should feel situational and natural, and when done right, it may deepen your relationship and keep a respectful distance without getting out of hand. Her lighthearted comments serve to enhance the relationship between you and other people, while also subtly affecting how they regard her role in your life. This change in tone has the potential to undermine the very bond she is trying to strengthen. Her protective gossip shows a conscious attempt to uphold boundaries and preserve overall harmony. Rather than seeking confrontation during one-on-one conversations, she may casually bring up other women and comment, which is also consistent with the Stoic principle of acting logically, as the Stoics encouraged mindfulness and intentionality in all of their choices. The tone is lighthearted, but the underlying message is clear. She is involved in you and paying attention to the dynamics around you, and it's crucial to acknowledge and appreciate the goal. I observed her gazing at you. Perhaps I should keep an eye on her again. Finally, an illustration of protective gossip. One of the most subdued ways a woman may show her desire to have you all to herself is through protective gossip, which combines comedy tactics with emotional engagement. By mastering the art of balance, she makes sure that her actions feel light and captivating while still sending a clear message. Now that you've learned the 7 subtle yet powerful signs that a lady wants you all to herself and is subtly warning others to do the same, protective gossip not only serves as a warning to others but also as a way for her to express her care and attachment, a sign that she values the relationship enough to publicly defend it in social settings, indication of her self-assurance and commitment to your relationship. These actions may seem insignificant at first, but they are incredibly significant and reveal her true motivations. If you start to notice these behaviors, you will have a better understanding of her feelings. We would love to hear your personal story in the comments section below. Until the next time. If you found this episode helpful, please remember to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use these ideas. Remember that the indicators are always there, you only need to identify them.